Come on. All right, everybody, let's get the show on the road. Didn't hear him. Do the Pledge of Allegiance first, please. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to make a motion that Russ and Kevin Baird can be in the meeting on Zoom here. They both have family members that they are having medical issues, so they couldn't be here today, but they're going to come online with us.
Mr. Chairman, the motion would be to allow full participation, finding exceptional circumstances as to both individuals.
That's what I said.
Thank you.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right, wonderful. So with the exception of Mr. Kish and Mr. Baer, all other members of the board are here in today's meeting. The meeting was properly noticed and posted both in the newspaper and on the district's website. So next would be the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make one adjustment to the agenda. JC is here to discuss us possibly purchasing the frontage property over on Kay's Drive there. I would like to move him up to the beginning of the meeting.
I second that motion. Any other changes?
Not that I'm aware of.
If no other changes, that'll.
Okay.
That's approved.
Do we have to approve that?
Yes, I think a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Correct.
All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, next would be the public comments.
Does anyone have any public comments? Kathy?
Catherine Kellmeyer, 314 Newport Drive. I see in the paper, and I'll give this to Kevin, regarding the request for qualifications for the engineering. Foot of the Islands Community Improvement District located in the city of Naples. I don't think we're in the city of Naples, but it's there. And also, Dan, I gave you a copy of the email list that the CID is trying to start. If that's it, if you would pass it on to the management company, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Frank?
Yeah. I'd like, okay.
Two quick things. I wanted to thank everyone that participated in cleaning up the entrances on caves. They really look nice, and it's just, you guys did a great job. You really did. And I love the fact that a lot of people got to meet new neighbors in that too. That was a good thing as well. And I wanted to ask a favor of everyone. If you will please come and stand on the X. It's not a joke. It enables the people watching at home to get a good, clear audio on this. So please stand on the X when you talk. Thank you very much.
And on that note too, our two board members that couldn't be here today, but they're here remotely with us. This is exactly why we are paying the money to have this done. And I hope you all think that it's money well spent. Was there someone online that wanted to make a comment?
Yes, I did, Steve. Sam Lashir, 231 K's Drive. I'm actually speaking as president of Stella Maris Master HOA. The Stella Maris Master HOA would like to request that the CID keep as an open agenda item until its completion the numerous requests by our attorney to have the CID attorney complete the legal paperwork to have the maintenance of the roadway of Stella Maris Drive South be taken over by the CID, and the maintenance of the storm sewer on Stella Maris Drive South become the responsibility of the Stella Maris Master HOA. This is exactly the same as the arrangement between the CID and the villages of Stella Maris for Stella Maris Drive North. Thank you.
All right, we will address that. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Approval of the minutes. let's start out with our attorney. Changes?
The only comment I had, Mr. Chairman, was on page 1, line 17, the gentleman from Florida Utility Services Solutions, his last name.
Matt Gillespie.
Gillespie.
Oh, Gillespie, so that needs to be.
Okay.
On page 4, line 31, opposed to check city viewer, it's city view portal. So the city view is, I think, one word actually, in the county's website, it's city view portal.
Okay.
And that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
You gonna talk about the minutes?
Anything else on the minutes? Go for it, your turn.
So, obviously, these minutes were a little bit longer than we've been used to. So we're going to see if we can work on a way to tighten this up, put those back more in a summary fashion that we've done in the past. I expect to see that at the next meeting.
Yes, something changed a little bit.
Yes.
And we're gonna change it back. Okay?
Also, the format, we need to formalize our format.
Exactly.
So any other changes to the minutes? If not, I make a motion that we approve the minutes as amended.
Motion?
Seconded? All in favor? Aye. Russ, are you on?
I got to unmute. Hang on.
Aye.
Thank you. I just wondered if you were here. Kevin, are you
Yeah.
on?
That was me. This is Kevin.
Oh, okay. Not Russ.
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Russ. Good
Okay.
morning. Managers report.
For the
Or
manager,
you know what? I'm sorry. Let's deal with Kay's Drive entrance now, so that
Steve, you could keep going. It was the only reason so that I could leave when I'm ready to leave, but if you guys keep going, I don't want to interrupt your business, so please, up to you.
It's fine.
it's fine. We can do it now. So I've been in speaking with JC about us possibly buying the west entrance on Kay's Drive there to make a community area there. I know at the last meeting, I've been sort of pushing this idea of putting a community center in there. That was just one option, and I have since been thinking about that, and maybe that's getting the cart way before the horse, because not everybody wants one, and we should deal with that when we get to it. The main reason for the CID acquiring that is so that it gives us opportunities. It makes it so that if somebody wants to build something in there that the community that wouldn't fit the community, we can control it. Down the road, if we should buy this, and down the road, someone comes to us and says, we'd like to put a restaurant in here, the community feels that that would be an asset to the community, we could resell it at that point. Or we can do whatever we want with it. But I personally think it's very important that we've been given this opportunity, and I think we will really regret it if we let this go. JC was gracious enough to let us move ahead on doing the signage stuff in the front, the monument there, which all looks really good, and I thank you for allowing us to do that. With that being said, do you want to say anything?
Two things. Thank you. I just think it's important, you know, over the years, I've been here since 2017, and over the years, we've had different companies and different interests come in about what to put on that property. Me and my wife took a vested interest because our house is down the street, And we had big plans for the property. Obviously, my condition is not going to allow us to move forward. I think it's very, very important whoever owns that piece of property have a vested interest for the community and not just somebody from the outside. I mean, it is a very visible piece of property. It's right at the entrance of Case Drive. You know, at the end of the day, anybody can come in, and as long as they get county and city approval or county approval, the CID can't stop somebody from putting whatever they want there. And my fear is that that day will finally come, especially with the build out of 41 heading east, that will finally come, and then we'll be stuck with something that's gonna affect our values and affect our interests for our community. So I just think it's important that if it's not gonna be somebody like me and my wife, that has a vested interest in putting something there of value, that it's somebody, it's a CID that has the vested interest. That way, to your point, Steve, then we can protect Port of the Islands, we can protect, that entrance. I think that entrance is really, really important. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
I'm sorry, but I know you and I spoke about pricing and whatnot. Do you have anything to add to that now?
Sure, I'm glad to. I consider myself a pretty reasonable guy. And sort of the conversations that Steve and I had basically was, I just want to get out of the property. I have an appraisal done on the property. You know, the property is only going to continue to increase in value as build out comes down the east corridor. You know, there are rumors out there, and I've received letters, anybody who owns on right on 41, that the county is going to take on rezoning the property to mixed use, all the way down to 29. Whether that happens or not, I don't know if it's going to happen. But I just think the value of the property is going to continue to go up. You know, again, my interest is for my family to have something of value when they come here, to stay at our home here. And I just want to get out what I put into the property. I'm not making a dime on the property. Basically, it's the purchase price plus whatever I put in CID costs, which, by the way, the CID has the power to actually request that money back from the county. So, you know, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I'm glad to turn over once it's completed the appraisal, but I'm not making a dime, and everything is public record, so the community can see that.
So you bought the property for 500, I did. Okay, and the first year, did you say you put in 15,000?
First year was about 15,000. I'll go back to my HUD statement.
Okay, 15,000 in assessments the first year, and this year you paid 39,000, correct?
34,511.
Okay, 35,000.
Correct.
But we've only used a quarter of, so if we were to buy it now, let's just say, those assessments are paid in advance, if I'm not mistaken. So there would only be, you would already be getting back from the buyer 3/4 of that $35,000.
Correct.
So
Something I gotta go back and process that for a minute. Yeah, you're right.
And I think, the prorations are different for assessments because of the fiscal year when they come due versus the ad valorem. But that's something that's always in a sales contract.
Correct.
And that
It's gonna
gets
be on the HUD statement no matter what.
That's exactly correct. So that gets,
So if I do the math on this, we're doing 500, 15, and 35. 35, of course, he would get back, you know, 2/3 or 3/4 of that anyway, or 2/3 of it, depending on when we get closed. But so can you just give me a number?
You know, if I could do the 550, that way I leave clean.
The 5 what?
550, the 15 plus the 34.
Okay.
Okay, and you know, that's what I'd be looking at. You know, again, unreasonable.
I know, I understand.
So but that's really what I'd like to do, especially, you know, unfortunately, I have not been given a good prognosis.
Yeah.
So things are gonna get caught up in estates and things like that, so I'd rather see it, the CID have it,
Mhm.
and it's done with, and go from there, but, you know, we can talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, we can talk about that.
So if he were looking for 550, the 35,000, at closing, does that tax money go back to him?
No, there's prorations. In other words,
Well, I understand.
yeah, and again, as Mr. Sanchez mentioned, it all depends on the date of closing. You mentioned that also.
Mhm.
So that would be if he's already paid the taxes for last year.
Correct.
The real estate and ad valorem and the non-ad valorem assessments, there'd be proration, but again, there's different dates as to when the proration is as of the
Right.
start date. So I would not want to guesstimate what that number would be now. But if the board feels that 550 is the appropriate purchase price, and then we do this typical standard prorations, it might end up being a bit more than 200.
Yeah, and being we don't have a realtor involved here, that'll save us a bunch of money.
Yes. And then we have, we have the prior survey, we can get an updated survey, so that should save some money on surveying, because to issue a title insurance policy, which is recommended, you need to have a survey current within generally 30 days. I like to have it, they're closing. So we have the prior survey just be updated by the same surveying company to show any encroachments, overlaps, or anything else that pops up. And so that should be relatively inexpensive. And then the title insurance premium it's rate-based. If Mr. Sanchez has a policy, whether or not we could get a reissue credit, I don't know. There's a process for that sometimes. So that's if it hasn't been used in a prior transaction. So those are the kind of nitty-gritty when we get down to the HUD statement. So the key issue is, from the board's perspective, if the board wishes to go ahead and authorize the chair to negotiate with Mr. Sanchez and bring the contract back to the next board meeting within the parameters of a purchase price not to exceed whatever number, typical standard commercial real estate transaction items, and whether or not you want to do a phase one, if Mr. Sanchez says phase one, he can give it to us, a phase one environmental. I don't know if one was performed or not. Those kind of items, if he has those documents, the district will get all those. Or the district may want to do a phase one with the due diligence. And those are items that we negotiated with the chair and Mr. Sanchez between now and the next board meeting, and have a proposed document that's recommended by the chair and agreeable to Mr. Sanchez and his wife.
Now,
That's an approach.
it sounds to me like we could probably get a survey in a week.
Oh, with an updated survey, it should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Levy here has a guy that does his all the time. He could fast track this for us. My understanding of this is we may be under a limited time frame here from the health wise stand. So I would really rather move this thing through sooner than next month's meeting. Do you agree with that?
Is it possible? Dealing with either sale or disposition of district assets, I always have the board, I think the most prudent practice is, from a legal perspective, my guidance to you and for the board's action, for the board to see the actual document and approve it, as opposed to just general parameters. I mean, if the board wants to continue this meeting for 2 weeks, what does that make that, Kevin? It's February.
I was going to suggest that anyway.
Okay.
Because I would like to start working on the ERC changes and whatnot.
But I don't know, well, I would suggest the focus would be on this contract and have a discussion. But I'm just saying, from the standpoint of drafting a contract and having it ready for the board and for the public to see, so the public can comment on the actual terms of the contract also. If continue for 2 weeks.
March 1st.
March 1st?
Would be 2 weeks from today.
I think that would be appropriate. That would give plenty of time.
Did you get your paperwork done?
Oh, the contract?
Yeah?
Yes. Oh, yes, sir. Once, I would suggest, if it's possible, a call, say on Monday, between Mr. Sanchez, you and me, and we can go through the terms, and then I can prepare the contract that day and have it shipped around to have some general idea. Because the key issue is, once you get the numbers, once you get the down payment, however that's going to be, well, in the timing, and as is, and then it's just a matter of plugging in all the other dates to meet whatever closing date that we agree upon. And I think the concept is an expedited closing date.
Okay.
So we could factor all that in so they can close without any bumps in the road. And I'm assuming Mr. Sanchez and his wife have a prior policy. And if we get the survey quickly and shorten all the timeframes for review, it could be done within 2 weeks after the board approves it, arguably. I mean,
Thank you.
you know, from the standpoint of available funds, those are in accounts that can be readily accessed without having to do anything major, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be talking on Monday then.
If you can send the time around, and Mr. McNamee, as to what works for Mr. Sanchez,
Okay.
I'm available pretty much after, anything after 10 o'clock on Monday.
And I'm wide open.
Open schedule. I'm sorry?
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hope you,
Thank you.
Because it is overseen
Yeah.
for, as you all know, there's a whole range of uses that are possible,
So-
including parks and playgrounds and, public administration, all kinds of things, so.
So, first of all, I've been doing a lot of the talking on this. I would like to get the input from the rest of the board as to what their views are on this. Russ, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm for it. I think we need to control what goes on that property. We weren't, nobody was really happy when we didn't have, once we lost control of it, everybody was concerned. So I know we're not in the real estate business, but I think this is in the best interest of the community.
Very good. Kevin? Kevin Barrett?
Yes, I agree. I think it's in the best interest of the community as well.
Okay, thank you. Lisa?
I agree. I think it's in our best interest to have control over that.
Mr. Sharkey?
I agree, we should move forward and get something together. I do believe that we need to get some opinion from the community, and that we were talking about a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's, by having the board meeting continue for 2 weeks, and we'll post that in the paper also, and having this as an agenda item, and having the proposed contract at that time, that would give I would suggest that gives an opportunity for the community to say, here's what the board's planning on doing, here's what the source of funds are, get that from the manager, and then the public can make their comments. And
Okay. So,
and I guess from the standpoint of the appraised value, I know all values are going up. Mr. Sanchez and his wife have an appraisal from before. Right now, it is not a public record. If he was to give it to the district, it would be a public record. And so whether or not some members of the public would say we, the board, the district should have someone look at that property, at least give some indication of its value, that the purchase price is an appropriate purchase price. So I don't know if there's an appraiser you can get hold of quickly, or some realtor or broker to give you a realistic, not a puffed up valuation of what that would be. Okay. And I'm trying to think, what does the property appraiser carry right now, Mr. Sanchez? I'm sorry? You know what the property appraiser carries it?
Carries that now?
What value is he assigned for tax for that?
$510,000.
Okay, so I mean, you have the property appraiser, and typically with the property appraiser, it's supposed to be full market value.
it's like 80% normally?
Yes, sir. They factor in brokerage fees, marketing fees, and so it's at 80 to 85%. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So,
That's a good indication.
at this time, I would like to ask the members of the audience here, does anyone have a real objection for us doing this? If you would, I'd sure like to hear it.
I just have a comment. Gabby Hanward, 160 K Drive. We live in a litigious society, and my concern is, and I've said this over and over again every time we drive by there are people that are not Port Islands residents on that property fishing. And I think we need to do, I don't know if we have insurance policy, we need to get, I don't know what we can do to protect ourselves. That's my only concern about this.
I will look into it, but I'm almost positive that we've got insurance that covers us for this, and if we don't, we will get it, because every place in here, we could potentially be in that situation. I've also been thinking about what you just said too. There are places where you could put up signs that say that this is for residents only type of thing, similar to what we have here, you know.
Well, that's what, yeah.
But those are all things that we can work with going down the line, but I thank you for that. All right, Tony and I and Mr. Sanchez will have a phone call on Monday, and see if we can move this thing forward?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, at the end, when you get to the conclusion of today's meeting, I would suggest that you move to have a continuation to a date and time certain, which would be March 1st at 9:30 a.m. And is this room available, or are we?
That's a Thursday, right?
Should be a Friday.
That's right. Okay, it looks like it's open. I'll have them put it on the calendar.
Thank you.
9:30.
5:30?
9:30.
I thought I heard 5:30 also, I'm thinking, I'm up.
I'm in the afternoon.
I'm up then too.
Okay, thank you. Feel free to go whenever you feel like it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're back now to the manager's report.
I think at the end, when we have the motion to continue, would be also the motion to authorize the chairman to work with council, Mr. Sanchez, and the manager, and come back with a proposed contract, or unless you want to do that now.
We've done this before.
Yeah.
Let's do it at the end.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. Manager's report today, Mr. Doral couldn't be here today, so I have some of his notes. A few of the items, the first was the mosquito control, which is continuing to move forward. Yesterday, late in the afternoon, the Florida House voted, and they did agree to take in Port of the Islands as one of the areas that they're going to now make part of the mosquito control district. So that did pass. That was good news. I did watch that. That was a 118 to 0. So that was very positive. So October of this year, Port of the Islands will be included in the Collier County Mosquito Control District. So that's good news. Ma'am?
The Senate hasn't approved it,
It passed through the House, right?
but it has to go to the Senate.
It goes to the Senate next, right? So that's where we are, right? So the next item, we have an agreement from them.
The governor has to sign.
In the meeting?
Yeah, we're running.
No, I got it.
Oh, okay.
It's back.
All right, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. So we do have an agreement from the mosquito control district in the interim until this is finalized through the Senate and then final signing from the governor. April through October, the cost was $57,485. That is the opportunity to have them come and spray starting in April.
So that's how many months?
So that is 7 months.
7 months for 57,000.
Correct. And we do have some money in the budget currently for mosquito spraying, but it would take a budget amendment of about $40,000 to put this into place. So that's the opportunity for if we want to start with them in April, or we could wait and see what happens and continue on the current course that we have.
So we're looking at roughly $8,142 a month for mosquito spraying.
Apparently, right.
That's a little mosquito spray.
And that's once a week.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It'll be good when we're in the district.
So we won't see a special tax then for mosquito spraying. It'll just be encompassed just like parks or anything else that would be in Collier County taxes,
I mean,
right?
if it passes and
Yeah.
it moves forward, do you know about that?
You know, what will happen is they will have a separate line item, because it's a separate entity from Collier County government, in your trim notice and the tax bill. It'll be a separate line item for their ad valorem tax, and the value is based upon what that amount is.
So they will still bill us basically individually?
No,
No?
it'll be under
It'll be
tax
on your
bill.
tax.
Yeah, what I mean though,
In each property owner, yes.
it won't be spread out evenly through the county.
That should be ad valorem. I can check, for example, I can check mine real quick and see how.
Oh, I'm just, okay.
So it's.
Let's deal with,
It's millage based, I believe.
It's a line item on my taxes.
It's millage based, so
Yeah.
it's ad valorem, so you know, higher property value, excluding, you know, save our homes and all those exemptions.
okay, let's just, as long as we're on this topic, does anybody have a view on this mosquito spraying?
Right now, it runs us $3,000 a month, roughly.
Dan, what did you say? I couldn't hear what you said.
I was just checking the price right now. We pay about $3,000 a month right now to spray 3 times a week. What we currently do. This is going to increase it to $8,100 a month.
Once a week.
It says once a week. Is that air?
I've seen I saw the proposal.
Because I thought I read that they were going to spray on the ground and in the air. Ariel?
They'll do most of us aerial. I think they're gonna add some fish to the pond or something, but once they're in, that's a one-time deal. They throw
I
in
don't
some
know.
minnows in the pond that'll eat mosquito larvae. Other than that, they spray the helicopter or the plane, right?
Exactly.
So,
So we're gonna have an increase, roughly that's 12, about $60,000 a year more to county do it than what it costs us currently.
Is there anyone on the board who thinks that hiring this outfit for $8,200 a month is what we want to do? Anybody? Okay, well then let's make a motion and
Let
just
me
continue with what we're doing.
continue with what we're doing now.
Do it?
I was gonna say, you don't need a motion.
We don't need a motion?
Just continue, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there is no agreement in place.
So the question, does Collier County mosquito, do they spray by the square miles or by the population, number of doors? How do they come up with their price?
I don't know what their budget is. Again, I don't know what their budget is based upon. I couldn't tell you that, but the millage rate is 0.1443 last year. And so if you have, just to give an example of it, if I can get it written up.
I know in town they do capture and base it on the population.
Mosquito population.
Okay, but I'm saying, so we're billed according to our millage rate, what everyone pays taxes.
It's based on valuation. For example, I'm in a partnership, we have a property that the taxable value is $1.4 million. And that pays, last year was $204 for mosquito control.
Okay.
So it's millage based, it's like anything else, it's ad valorem based.
So they're voting to bring us in. Do we have a right of refusal on that, or just that's the way it's going to be?
I don't know if the legislation requires a referendum or not. At times it has in the past, but I've not been tracking the legislation.
Well, and what I thought too is, if it isn't going to be costing us a lot of money, because it's going through the county, if at some point we decide that we would like to hire, like what we're doing right now, in addition to it, if things are getting away, it's not getting covered the way that we'd like it, we can always hire additional spraying.
Correct, and
In the
that happens,
future.
for example, that happens in one of the other districts, and there's a coordination between mosquito control district and the vendor that the district hires to make sure they're not overdoing it.
Very good.
It's a
Very
coordination aspect.
What was that millage rate, one more time?
Last year, 0.1443. So like I said, on $1.4 million, it came to $204.
Annually, right? $240.
Each year it changes based upon the value. Once you get your taxable value is what the millage is applied to your taxable value.
Sure.
You may have a market value, but then you get all the exemptions, and then it takes it down to a taxable value.
Okay. So hopefully you all understand what's going on here, that, sometime in the near future, within the next year, more than likely, we'll start seeing some helicopters and airplanes, and if that isn't working, we will adjust our situation. If that means we hire additional spraying, we will do that. All right, moving on.
The next item, on the ERC, the utility rate analysis, we've had some pre-engagement meetings with the consultant, which is a company called Raftalis, which is who the county uses. 2 weeks ago was our last meeting. He had planned to have recommendations to share with you at your May meeting. In conversations with the chairman, We're gonna get together with him as soon as next week, to discuss exactly what you're looking for, what you would like to see, just to make sure that we're able to expedite this and not have any timing issues as we get to the end, when we have to go through the notice periods and all those items. So that's where we are. We're still at the beginning stages, but we do have him engaged. He gave us a pretty lengthy questionnaire, several pages long, about ERC methodology, how it's been established, what we're currently paying, all those things. So he has all that information he's going through now just to see the lay of the land, where this is currently. Then we'll get together and talk about where this could possibly go. So that's our next step with that.
Catherine, you dealt with this ERC stuff in the past from what I'm seeing on the records. I have had an issue with trying to open up some of the correspondence that you have. I'm just wondering if you would be willing to help us with this process, maybe?
Explain what was done in the past?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Our next item, just a quick update on FEMA reimbursements and grant status. Mr. Truckee obviously has done a great job of leading that. Would you like to say something about where we are with FEMA?
We continue to work towards, I'll call it the meteor grants, where we're looking at bigger dollars. Right now, the storm emergency stuff we did, like the pump stations, the generator, things like that we had to do, those monies are coming in. We received $11,000 on the first one. That was just a small one for some street signs and some different things that we repaired. The generator monies should be coming in. They're earmarked to get paid by FEMA right now.
Yep.
So we should be getting that check pretty quick for our diesel generator we had to replace. In order to get FEMA, we have to totally, I guess, use everything we can from the insurance company. We have to fill that request first, and the insurance company is going to pay us like
just around approximately $35,000 with less the deductibles and all those items. But it's important that we've claimed everything to go forward with the FEMA.
Right, so to keep FEMA happy, we have to exhaust our insurance, and we're doing that. And then we'll get the rest of that money for the generator. The well road that we've been talking about quite a bit, because that includes the new line that comes from the wells and water line that comes wells to building, to our infrastructure building, that leaks, and we're working on replacing that. Right now, we're looking at HDPE pipe that'll be probably 8 or 10 inches to come in, and they're going to, looks like they're wanting to direct burial that. And that's going to be well over $1 million, maybe closer to 2 by the time they finish up that. That is falling under the grant. We're still working out the final details with FEMA on some of that, raising the wellheads, things like that. The electrical out there, electrical boxes all have to be raised. That's in the grant right now that we're working towards. What else we got going on? The road, we're working with the park department, the state park, Florida State Parks, because we co-op the road with them. They have some infrastructure out there at the end of the road and things, so that road back when it was built and put together, we kind of co-op that. We're supposed to co-op the maintenance of that road with them. So we're working with the state parks, and they're gonna come in and put all the culverts under the road, larger ones and more of them. And they're gonna raise parts of the road. And we'll try to come in and take care of the rest of it with some grant monies. So the parks have been very good now. We're working with a biologist who asked us if we wanted to co-permit all the projects that we're gonna have going on that road, and that's awesome if we can ride the shirt tails of the state. That's a big plus, so we're going to do that. I just spoke to him yesterday about that, and he was said that that's going through, that we'll be full permitting that, so that's a good thing. Time frame, we're looking at getting this done probably next spring, dry season next year. They're only 60% complete with their planning right now, so probably next spring will be when we start repairing the road, putting all new culverts in it. We'd like to have our water pipe put in by then, and maybe have our infrastructure raised so that when we start raising the road and things, we can kind of work together with them on that, so.
When you talk about next spring, you're talking about 2024, 2025?
2025, probably March.
So more than a year from now.
They want to hit the driest, yeah, about a year from now. They want to hit the driest part of the season because it's wet back there. They can't do it during the wet season, so they have to wait, and they want to do it in the driest part of next season. So probably be anytime now, February, March, April, somewhere in there that work will get done. But we may be able to put our water pipe in prior to that, so. Our engineers right now are working on that. That's coming up with our engineering report, just a little bit down the agenda. Our new engineers are putting together all the information we need and the studies and the drawings for our new water pipe, so.
We should also try to coordinate it so that if we have other work to do here, maybe we can have the same thing go all the way through.
On the road you're talking?
Well, when we're doing all this stuff back there, yeah, road work, but moving pipes and whatnot, hopefully Lindsay Case will be doing his thing by then. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I have.
I would like to thank Dan and Kevin for their tireless effort on doing this. I know most people don't like hurricanes, but it sure looks like this one might give us something.
Exactly, thank you. The last item on the manager's report, on the district engineer, the requests for proposals have been published in the newspaper. There's a deadline of February the 29th. So far, we have 2 that have come in. We'll have the short list at your next meeting. In the interim, we've been using Johnson Engineering. They've been engaged to perform a planning analysis for our FEMA work that we've needed, especially on the well pipe. They've done a great job. I think we've been very happy with them. I think Mr. Truckee has as well. So we'll present that at your next meeting, and then we'll be able to move forward with a district engineer at that time.
Can you tell us the other 2 firms that have?
And one more.
Yeah, there's one other one, and I don't know who it is.
No, that email I got from Neil Doral mentioned that we were going to have Johnson do a study on our roads in here and so forth. The board never authorized that. I don't want that to happen unless we authorize it. I don't think this is the time to be spending a whole bunch of money on.
I went back and checked into that too as well. I think that was a discussion about looking at there was a comment about the roadways, and we wanted to take a look at the roads. The CID was responsible. That would be a natural first step. I get what you're saying, that you don't want to start that yet, but that was where that came from. It's just that was, if we're going to do that, that'll be the very first step for an engineer to take to do that survey.
Yeah.
So, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, let's wait for more direction on that if we could.
When will our new engineering firm be online?
They will be presented at your next meeting, then you'll be able to vote. And I would imagine very shortly thereafter.
Yeah, the process is you rank the engineers and you negotiate compensation with the highest ranked engineering firm. And if you're not successful with that negotiation, then you go to the second ranked engineering firm.
So how long,
that.
once we vote and say, okay, this is the one we want, and it works out, how long before we have them online?
Again, it all depends. We have a negotiation as to you can't consider a price until after you qualify and rank and negotiate. So it's just a matter of sitting down maybe the following Monday and saying, here's the compensation rates, and we still need to come back and have that agreed upon. So you may, when you get to that point in time, you may want to then continue that meeting to a date certain for a week to give time to negotiate with the top ranked firm and try to get them in place as soon as possible. Okay. That might be the way to do that.
We have some other engineering things we need done also, and we have to get online with this because we have an LMS grant that's coming to a head, and that one of the items in that grant is a new storage tank that'll hold, I don't know how many thousand gallons of water. But the engineers have to work on that, put that together, and we're gonna be able to, it looks as though that's gonna come through the LMS grants, which is really nice. It's a little different than FEMA grants. We have to pay, I think, at this point, 25%. I think we're gonna have to pay, but 75% of the project will be funded by the LMS, so that'll be our new storage tank that we're looking at, so that's kind of nice.
Do you need us to make a motion to have Johnson's move forward with the work that
Well,
you need done?
They can't do, they cannot do the design work because the cost under the Consultants Association Act. Yeah.
We have a meeting on the 1st. Why can't you do it then?
Yeah. If the proposals are in by then.
It's supposed to be in by the 29th.
29th. Let's deal with it then on the 1st.
So we'll get them the day before the board meeting.
That's fine, right?
If you can make a recommendation, then it's up to you.
I'm sure we can. Yeah, we'll do, do everything we can.
Let's do that. So
we'll put that as an agenda item also, when we get to that, as consideration of some proposals for engineering services.
that takes us to financials.
So your financials are through December 31st. Just the highlights, the predominant cash on hand is in your operating account. Total cash on hand at the end of December is $5.1 million. Large amount of that is in the operating account. The district also has land, infrastructure, depreciable assets of nearly 16 million, less the depreciation. The district's total assets are 13,700,000. Very strong. There are $66,000 of payables at the end of December in the liability section. So very strong on the balance sheet. The next pages are the income statement. We received $184,000 in assessment revenue from the tax collector in December, which high number. We also received our first FEMA grant payment, as Dan had stated, of just over $11,000. So that's good news, just to see that beginning to flow in from a timing standpoint, because that should be a significant amount at some point. And then finally, just going through some of the expense items. We are still under budget overall. If there's any particular questions you have, I can answer them about anything in terms of expenses, but everything is in order, still in really strong condition from a financial standpoint.
Very good. Anybody else have anything on financials? All right.
Just a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the financials as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Our utility man. I saw him, there he is.
And you can get the spelling of Matt's name right now if you need it.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you? All right. So, last month, all wastewater plant requirements were met. Water distribution requirements were met. The reuse pump on pump system is functioning properly for outgoing pressure of the plant. The station on the canal is still operating on 2 pumps. Generator does not run. Last month we treated 2.71 million gallons of wastewater. And as far as water goes, we produced 3.69 million gallons of potable water and distributed 8.1 million gallons of reuse in January. All the meters were read, 857. Used 980 gallons of chlorine, seems to be pretty consistent. We inspected all the pump stations, lift stations, all that good stuff. Odor control checks. We're still receiving parts for the plant for the upgrades. And we're completing repairs as well, or upgrades and repairs. We installed a new chute on the bar screen. We had to replace the dumpster because the old one rusted out. One of the new blowers is installed, and I put a timer on the mixers on the plant. So I know that's kind of detailed.
Is
But
this filter here yet?
no, it's not here yet.
When
No.
does that show up?
I'll have to ask Mitch, but I know the lead time on that I was pretty sure it's at least like 6 months. So
it'll be a while yet.
yeah, it'll be a while. I think it
Some
comes
more of
from,
the things that we ordered we actually got under the grant was a disc filter for the plant, which is a good thing.
oh yeah, that'll be great, it'll make a big difference. No injuries or OSHA incidents. All of our safety and training was conducted, and that's it.
Any meter problems this past month?
As far as reads or?
Yeah.
No, I mean, we just did the reads, yesterday or the day before, and they sent us back some ones that look like they have high variance or that, and we go out and double check them and reread them, but I haven't seen any of the final stuff yet for that.
Have we ever found a bad meter?
Not one that read bad. We've had ones that break and leak, you know, but.
Okay, but they've been accurate.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
good.
even if there's a small drip somewhere, unless it's using, you know, more than like a 1/16 of a gallon an hour, the meter won't even read it anyways. So, you know, sometimes you see a tiny drip from backflow, that's not being read or charged.
Now, you were dealing with Mitch on moving some piping. Is he involved in that at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna look at it next week. Get it done. It's on my list to get done.
Okay.
I have one question on back flush out on Newport K.
Uh-huh.
So that one that's right at the end of Newport K,
Okay.
when that one flushes, it fills all the ditches with water almost all the way down to the.
Yeah, it's on my list.
That's what we were just talking, I
Yeah.
was just mentioning to
That's my
her.
list.
She's working on that.
Okay, so is that a timing thing about how long we're flushing that? How much water we're flushing out of there? Because it's a lot.
I think
Yeah.
it's directional.
Yeah, I mean, the timers are based on our chlorine residual,
Yeah.
so it runs as long as it has to run in order for us to stay within our specs. If we go above or below, then, you know.
Yeah, that has been an issue. It's a lot of ponding water there. We gotta,
We have like
We're looking
maybe
at-
3 areas we have to like
Okay.
either move or redirect. or
There's
something.
maybe some little things we could do. We could put a better timer on there that runs maybe, instead of one time so long, it'll run more frequently for shorter periods of time. Things like that, we could look into it for sure.
good.
So,
Thank you for your report.
No problem.
Glad it's going good.
Thank you.
next.
Yes, sir. On the public records lawsuit involving Premier District Management, KLT, we filed the lawsuit, and his attorney yesterday accepted service on his behalf, and they will have 30 days to respond to the lawsuit. So we'll keep you apprised of that. On the PrepMac lawsuit, again, I think the 4th or 5th time, scheduling Neil Doral as the corporate representative of the district for his deposition on March 28th. And we will be meeting with Mr. Doral beforehand, March 21st, for deposition preparation. We talked, going back to the minutes, I looked at the discussion item with regards to issues that the board has, the district has, that we're frustrated with as far as county responses. And one way to get to the full board of county commissioners is to submit a public petition request, and you get 10 minutes, which is usually only get 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but it's 10 minutes. And as long as there is not a pending code enforcement action that you're talking about, and recognizing also that the board does not take action per se, other than maybe give direction to staff to do something. If the board so inclined, you can authorize the chair and myself, working with the manager, to draft a public petition and submit it, and it's within a 2-week period you get heard. So maybe within 3 weeks of the date you request the next available county commission date. In the public petition portion is right at the beginning of the meeting, after they do the quorum and everything else. So you're right there, maybe after proclamation. So it's right up front. If the board still wishes to do that, the board could, by motion, authorize the chair and I to declare a public petition. It'll be really short, but it's just a short document. Just say, on behalf of, for down CID, the chair, I would like to address the Board of County Commissioners on the following topics. And you have 10 minutes to do that. And if other members of the board want to be there, we can notice it as a meeting of this board also. And the beauty of having it in the county commission chambers, it's videotaped and they have a court reporter. And their court reporter does a verbatim transcript. So that portion could be the minutes of this board for that attendance, if that's what it's on.
Views from the board?
I think we need to do it. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, and one of the topics, and we can get some direction, so when we prepare it, we can have sort of a list of topics now that the board wants to talk about for the county commission.
Median.
Yeah, having them take over their medium for the only place that's paying it for ourselves. I also would like to speak to them about their own code violations and how they're enforcing them and whatnot.
County property.
County property.
Oh, by the way, as an aside, they are not adverse to going against CDDs, because I represent a CD that I received 2 notices of violation, yesterday for grass that was too high. So, I mean, they're not adverse.
Well, one thing I'm looking at is, there's been back and forth about the parking over on the lawn over there, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, it should be allowed or it shouldn't be allowed. The thing of it is, it's C4 property, therefore it's not zoned for that. But let's just say it wasn't C4 and it was zoned for that. That would still require them to have an improved surface underneath of that. So in other words, they wouldn't be parking all that stuff on grass. So
It just needs to be cleaned up.
Again,
and the other thing
Nobody
is,
has an objection to it being there, it's just that all the rules.
yeah,
so the topic could be on that one, be US 41 median landscaping, code enforcement actions, or county maintenance of its property.
well, see, the other thing is they own that other parcel of land next to Scott Preppin over there that they dumped, dozens of truckloads of gravel in there and told people that now that's their new parking area. They had to know that wasn't code when they went and did that too. It's just, the county is just doing as they please here.
Again, we can make it general in the request, and select a number of topics, and then have the details when we have the presentation.
The other thing I would like to speak to them about is the amount of impact fees that they take out of this community. We got this 109 homes coming in here. That's probably going to be over $2 million in impact fees. Who's being impacted? We are. We're the ones paying for that impact, not the county. We need to find out why we can't get some of that impact money. Agreed?
I'm just thinking, if we can talk about, I think just generally say transportation road impact fees, and they're going, I can tell you what the response is going to be. That we have fire and we have EMS, not fire, and also we have the school impact fee, which is, that goes to the school board, the county administers it. And we also have roads and transportation impact fee to improve the county network that the folks who live in that community will ultimately drive on. Whether they take 41, which is a state road, but they'll ultimately end up at some county road when you get to some other port. So, but that's a good discussion. Say, hey, it's basically is your methodology for determining road impact fees. Does it take into account you're charging the rural areas the same for urban areas? I guess that's a good. I don't know how often they review their methodology, but that's a good point. And a property owner has the ability individually to have their own alternative impact. They used to. So I haven't gone back. I can double check. Do an alternative impact fee analysis to say, hey, my impact of my development of the road network is X. You're saying it's X times 5. I'm saying it's X. So please give me a reduction. The other aspect is I don't know if they're paying water and sewer impact fees. I don't know. I don't know what impact fees are paid in this area. There's an impact fee calculator online. And again, we can work up the general topics, but I can just go online and plug in address and they'll tell me whether or not there's a water and sewer because you're not in their service area, right. Whether or not what the roads are. Pardon?
I don't believe there is.
Right, but so that's, and so,
You
again,
gotta find out first what goes into their impact fee.
correct, and so, but again, if we can just have general topics, like, say a number of topics involving Port of the Islands, including but not limited to maintenance of US 41 median, county maintenance operation of its properties, code enforcement general, and things like that, and then we can flush it out when we get to it.
And as long as we're there, I would like to see if we could get them to turn over the old hotel property to us.
Add that to it. No, seriously, add that to it, and also, I'd say next time we have the PILT funds, can you give us more?
Okay.
So we can put PILT county property. Because they've been, I guess, haven't they been saying for years they want to use it for a substation or EMS?
There's all over the board.
On a police station for a while, county police, haven't heard anything for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have the sheriff willing to staff it and then have to have a budget increase.
Well, we won't get it unless we ask for
But
it.
okay, I'd like to be PILT, the county property, in maintenance operations of county properties currently existing, and impact fees if it's reasonable to do that. Okay, thank you. The item under attorney's report, I don't know if Dr. LaShire is still on the phone. Do you want me to discuss that now or?
Sure.
Talk about, and I guess, so the topic request is to have the maintenance of the roads in Stella Maris South be performed by the district, with the drainage performed by the association, which would be an agreement between the district and the association. Is that what's envisioned, I think?
Well,
ask Dr. LaShire?
first of all, we didn't take over the drainage of Stella Maris North. So
It's just a road surface, I think.
it's just the road. I'm not saying that we can't or won't at some point, but I'm just saying right now that isn't the case. Here again, just like with Stella Maris North, I know the previous board's issue was they didn't feel that, they wanted to know that we weren't taking over something that needed a big repair. I think we need to do that same direction with Stella Maris South, meaning let's find out where they sit with, I know they were having some issues with
Ownership, right? Do they own the road now?
Yeah, road ownership, whether or not they had some pipe issues draining into the canal. Just if they're in compliance now, so that we're not going to be taking over something and then having to spend a whole bunch of money to bring it up to today's standards. I think that's fair.
No, they didn't. They didn't want us to take over the drainage. They just want us to take over the road.
Didn't I hear him this
The
morning?
drainage, they're going to keep.
No, I think the drainage would be the association, I think is what Dr. LaShire said.
That's what he said.
I'm on
Okay,
the
I
line.
misunderstood. All right, I misunderstood.
And I believe the plat that's at issue is the Stella Maris plat. And we're just talking about the one street, Stella Maris Drive South, is that correct? And it's platted as tract R on the plat, and it's dedicated to the CID. It says, to the Port of the Islands Community Improvement District, all road rights of way, the same being shown as tract R, and the maintenance thereof, subject to easement here and after set forth. So the plat already provides for it. The maintenance of the road to be the district.
Okay.
And the drainage, though, it says to the Stella Maris Homeowners Association with responsibility for maintenance, and to the Port of the Islands Community Improvement District with no responsibility for maintenance, and to Cuyahoga County with no responsibility for maintenance, a blanket drainage easement over all of tract R, which is the road. So the plat gives the association the responsibility under the plat for the drainage.
Okay.
Under tract R.
So that needs to be revised then.
Well, what can happen is the district can accept an assignment of that dedication of the drainage or enter into an agreement. If it accepts an assignment of dedication, and that goes on in perpetuity. There could be an agreement to maintain the drainage, With the premise being that the public purpose is to help support, make sure the road subbase and base remain intact, because if you have bad drainage, we all know you have the subbase and base get compromised.
So,
At least that's what I hear from engineers, I'm not practicing
Right.
engineering.
and correct me if I'm wrong, is Mr. LaShire saying that you're not engaging them on the way that they would like to be engaged?
I've not been, Richard Boast and I have been playing sort of email tag, and I've not been as responsive as I should have been. That's
Okay,
correct.
all right.
That's the first
So,
thing.
in fairness to them, let's not forget about this. Maybe we can,
But with the board's direction, I can bring back an agreement for the drainage at the next board meeting, not next week, not 2 weeks, no.
how does the board feel?
We can't go there. Because right now, we have to decide as a board whether we're gonna take over drainage for everyone, right? Because we do some of the houses right now, but we don't do any of the condominium associations. So if we're gonna take over Stella Maris multifamily stuff, then we're gonna have to look at all the rest of them. Because I'm gonna be right in line with Stella Maris North, because we've asked for it in the past, and all our stuff is up to date. We have no problem, it's working properly, it's there, it's the way it was built, and we haven't altered it.
They're not
So,
asking for that, right?
My understanding, Dr. LaShire, understand?
Yes, no, we're not asking to take over the drainage. We'll continue to take over the drainage. We just want the maintenance of the road, just exactly like Stella Maris North. They take over the maintenance of the road, and then Stella Maris North, or the villages actually has responsibility for the sewer system. Same thing. We want the exact same thing. That's all we need.
Yeah, very good.
The plan is consistent with that concept as to the road, because again, the dedication is to the CID, all road rights of way, it's shown as tract R, and the maintenance thereof, subject to the other easements.
That sounds fair. Now, Sam, has the ownership of the road been determined yet?
We're going to have to do something as far as taking over the road, as far as a quick claim, because it's in a company that's no longer it's no longer around. It's in the old Harbor Club development. So we're going to have to quick claim it. We wanted to make sure that the county didn't want, the CID didn't want to take it over, but if not, we'll take it over. And I think that's exactly what Frank will tell you. I think that's exactly what they did with Stella Maris North. They took it over, and so it's in their name. The road.
The term take over, in my humble opinion, the term take it over is not a good phrase to use. You have, in Florida, you have the concepts of fee simple ownership, you own all the property rights. Then there might be easements or dedications to other entities that end up being what they call the dominant estate. So what the district has, the road's been dedicated to the district with the responsibility for maintenance. And the fee simple ownership is what's at issue, is what Dr. LaShire is talking about. From the district's perspective, it doesn't matter from a legal perspective who owns the road, because the district has been dedicated to the road with responsibility for maintenance.
okay, so
If they want to make sure ownership is in their name, that's their call.
in Stella Maris North, you didn't take the road, we actually did an easement agreement with you
Correct.
on the road, and you took over the maintenance of
But the district did.
Right, but we still own it in Stella Maris North.
I don't know, it sounds like, okay, so the fee simple ownership is Stella Maris North. Here, the fee simple ownership is in a defunct corporation, it sounds like, dissolved.
Okay.
So do we have to get that cleaned up before we can move forward?
No, sir.
Okay, so, in my opinion, I would like to help them to get this taken care of, just like you did with Stella Maris North.
Okay. Like I said, the key is, in re-looking at the plat, is that no agreement is necessary to maintain the road because it's already dedicated to the district as a road with responsibility for maintenance.
So you're saying we don't have to do anything other than just start maintaining it?
Correct.
Oh, well, that makes it pretty easy.
Dedicates all road rights of way, the same here in shown as tract R, which is Stella Maris South Drive, and the maintenance thereof.
So,
Subject
would
to,
the district own the road then?
no, the district has a dedication, which is in sense an easement. for the road.
Okay, so
There's
they
two-
would still have to sort out their ownership of the road because they don't want to leave it in the old harbor club.
If they want to sort out the ownership,
Right.
it doesn't affect the dedication to the district.
Okay.
There's two ways to approach a dedication, whether it conveys the title, and it depends upon the words used and everything, or does it grant an easement? And in this case, it appears to grant an easement, not the ownership of the title.
Anything further on that, Mr. LaShire?
Yeah, Tony, if you would please contact Mr. DeBost and just give him that information, and then we can go from there as far as ownership of the road. I'd appreciate it.
What I'll do, I'll just say, hey, Richard confirming that the plat provides for the dedication to the district and of the road and the maintenance responsibility thereof.
That's
And-
perfect. As long as he knows that, then he can move ahead with the ownership of the road.
Yes, and by the way, that's always a fun opportunity. I'll call it, I'm very facetious and sarcastic, obviously. One of my other districts, they have a number of roads that when the developer left after filing bankruptcy and then getting out of bankruptcy, all the officers resigned of these property owners association and business parks, and there's 3 of them. And so there's nobody to maintain the roads anymore. And that district wanted to take over the roads, but nobody will sign the quitclaim deed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so it's amazing how that happens in Southwest Florida. There's a court process to do that, Dr. LaShire. I can also share that with Richard.
Is there anything else?
Yes, thank you.
Mr.
Appreciate it.
All right, we will do everything that we can to get this done.
But
Lisa?
there will be a document that says that we are not responsible for the drainage.
I will confirm in the email that the plat also dedicates to drainage, to them we have no maintenance responsibility. Yes. I can confirm that.
Sounds fair.
Mr. LaShire, just to note, when we had to do some work with our seawall, we had to get a quitclaim deed, and we were able to contact the builder, who actually was the president of Harbor Club. We were able to contact him, and he did sign quitclaim deeds. I don't know if that's been a while, but I don't know if he's still around or what, but he was willing, for us, he may be willing to do that for you if you can get a hold of him.
Thank you. We'll try.
Okay.
But either way, we will take over we will start maintaining the road, or responsibility for maintaining the road when it needs work. All right, thank you. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
No news? The fishing tournament, I think?
That's not happening. So the board had considered at one point to work with Ludwig on kind of an event that we're going to have in recognition of Zach and things like that. But we decided after speaking with them that we would wait till next year before we do anything and see where they're at with that. So the fishing tournament and some different things we're just putting out there as possibilities will be on hold till maybe next year when we could, everyone's on the same page.
Just too soon.
Too soon.
Okay, the next one is boat trailer storage, Newport Drive. I guess
It'll be a topic at our meeting too, I guess.
code official was at that meeting and told us that it was in violation and they were going to get this stuff moved. I saw a letter now where they gave notice for 90 days, I believe. I'm still getting calls quite often on both sides of this, or people want to continue to have the boat parking there and people who don't want the boat parking there. The CID has taken the position that, we're not in code enforcement, but we will try to facilitate getting things resolved that people have issues with. Is there anyone in here who has a comment about the boat storage over there? No? Okay, so I guess we'll just let that work its way through then. Road conditions survey.
we decided to
We
stop
did that
that.
already.
Okay. New business? Anybody have any new business?
I have a couple questions.
Please
that I'd
come
like
up.
to ask. Carol Williams, 141 Wilderness K. I wanted to know about the aerators for the ponds on Case Drive. I think our last board had given a substantial deposit to a firm for the 2 aerators, and I haven't heard anything more about it. And I just wanted to know if we're gonna have aerators in the ponds, or was a substantial amount of money given for a deposit and then that company went away or didn't go away? I don't know. But I'd like to have some follow-up on that.
You had sent a note to Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
I started to look into that late
Okay.
yesterday, but it's gonna take a little time to get to the end of it. But I know, with the previous management company, before we were here, back in February, well, to go backwards, in April of 2022, this was approved. February of 2023, in the last board meeting, that the other management company was at, it was decided to shelve the, aerators in the minutes that I'm looked at. And then they were gonna look at, how much was paid for deposits versus how much was owed, because it was a substantial amount of money supposedly to do the whole project. The deposit amount was $5,000, paid back in,
That was for the electrical part.
for the electrical part of it, exactly, was part of the aerator project, exactly. Then there
They
was,
started it, they did very, very little.
yeah, and so.
We
what
should
happened-
ask for that money back if we don't go forward with this, or we're not, yeah.
Because that's kind of where we left, that's
They
where it
did
was
do a
left.
little bit of
As I
work.
went back and looked, they did some work.
Yeah.
There was a $5,000 deposit paid,
So that's a good point, Carol.
So that's kind of the update on
That
that.
was all we paid, total was 5,000?
Yeah, $5,000. The whole project was substantially more than that, so that's
So
why,
you're
that was the
gonna,
decision.
yeah, you're gonna follow up on it.
Yeah.
Oh, and now, as long as we're on the ponds, the one way down on the end by Wilderness, I've noticed, over time, there's been people doing a lot of fishing in there and taking a lot of fish out. I understand fishing may be good there, but those fish in there are in there for the purpose of keeping the mosquito larvae down and so forth.
Also signage.
Yes, I've got 3 signs that could be put up, restricting fishing in those ponds. How does the board feel about that kind of signage?
Put them up.
Put them up? Russ? Kevin?
Yeah, I think it'd be fine to have signage at the ponds. No fishing.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Mr. Sharkey?
I'm good with it.
All right, we'll, go.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, in addition to those signs, you need to put up no trespassing signs, because the state takes the position that they are the only ones that can enforce fishing in the state of Florida.
I
All
think
right.
they say that.
I think they say that.
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure,
Yeah.
only because there have been some
Yeah.
arguments in the past.
I mean, I understand people wanting to fish in those, and, I'd like to see it too, but if they threw the fish back, I'd be all for it,
But again, that goes to what, Debbie was saying about people falling in and alligator grabbing someone.
Liability.
Yeah, and so, talking about signage, we have the mosquito spray sign that says we spray Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or whatever. And then we have a sign out front that says, don't drink the water, our landscaping. I know our sign is broken there on Case Drive, needs to probably be, but it'd be nice if we could get our signage together, so we just, don't have a sign here, with a little chicken band to some wire, and then another one that's half broken, just because it gets a little cluttered. But I think the no trespassing signs at the entrance would be wise on both sides, Newport and Orchid
Well, we
Cove.
weren't talking about just putting up signs at the ponds
Yes.
themselves.
That would say no
No
trespassing.
fishing or fishing.
Why not have no trespassing at our entrances too? Because it is, I don't know, I'm just saying, we want our people to come, but we don't want them fishing over on the west lot, which we were talking about. We don't, I'm just saying no trespassing, maybe even at the entrances and at the ponds perhaps. We can talk about that, I guess. I just want to cover it.
Well, the problem with public road, you can't trespass.
No.
So what happens, people go on, property, like banks.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Kara, go ahead.
I wanted to ask another question, but it's not on the signage.
Go ahead.
The mosquito spraying that we're currently contracting for, I wanted to know the contract that we have and how long, you know, the duration of it. And if we wait, and if it passes in the Senate, and then they start October 1, 2024 to start spraying for us, we won't need that other contract. I just didn't know the dates.
I tell you, I don't know about the contract for mosquito spraying. Russ, do you have any background on that?
No, I mean, if you wanted to stop it tomorrow, you could stop it tomorrow. There's no big deal. You know what I mean? As soon as another, if the state gives us the ability to be incorporated with the county, that'll just end the contract. We're not, you know, that's not what
Very
he's
good.
trying to do. So,
Thank you.
no
Okay,
problem.
and I just wanted to also say that I think the entrances look great. Steve was out there with his equipment, and Kevin and everybody else was power washing and digging in. It looks great. And I think we're probably still gonna have a little bit more plants perhaps planted.
Yes.
And over on Newport, I know some people have said, how about us too? And I think there's some ideas in the mix to help over on Newport as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, we did have the, I did talk to Soto and have them start trimming down the bushes because they hide everything here. So,
Let's see what we have.
yeah.
Well, and that's another thing. I paid attention to what's going on in Case Drive, but I haven't done a whole lot with Newport because it's already completed. But if the people from Newport think that we should, you know, completely remodel that thing, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would hope that we could get volunteers like we did over on the other side. I would still volunteer to use my equipment over there if need be. But we need somebody to spearhead it. Come up, please.
Catherine Kellmeyer, 314 Newport Drive. Newport entrances, the monuments are to the point of needing power washing. The landscaping around the big sign is overgrown. It looks like a jungle. The side monuments have weeds and some of the bromeliads are dying. It just needs a total overhaul. It would be nice to keep the community together if it was done in the same way that Case Drive was, and add a little bit more into the center, almost like that. Thank you.
I agree. Hopefully that there would be some folks from that side who would like to give input on what would happen over there.
And if I may, the center divide from probably where the three trees are right past the real estate office, you have a very long stretch in the center divide where there's nothing there. And that really needs to be addressed too, and get some kind of landscaping in there, whether it be cabbage palms or other kind of palms. Thank you.
Anything else on that? Any other new business?
On the area situation,
Steve?
Steve Gunther, thank you, 25077 Peacock Lane. Yeah, on the aerator situation, we have an aerator over here, so if the CID is going to take over aerators, there is a maintenance fee, and we're paying that currently as an association. So if you're going to do theirs, we'd like you to do ours.
So it's CID property though. We own the property there. We own the property where you are, right?
Okay, well, I thought that, well, it's right next to a HOA, so it seems like it would be appropriate for, if the HOA wants aerators, that maybe the HOA can pay for it and maintain the cost of it. But yeah, your point is well made that it is CID property.
So that's my comment on that. Just wanted to get that out there for you guys to consider. The other thing is, Lindsay Case was supposed to be here today, and we're supposed to get an update on parcel 13, and if you guys had any update from that, I'd appreciate it.
Haven't heard a word. I don't know what's going on. I thought he was supposed to be here too.
I think that, I did not read, invite, Chester Bassett, we've not had any communication, but I will tell them that the board inquired as to Mr. Case being present and making a presentation.
Well, I thought they wanted something from us.
Yes, they do.
Well,
I'll just say that
to get it.
the next meeting, I'll just make a reminder, the next meeting is March 15th. If you want to have any approvals, please submit them to the manager, put them in the agenda packet, and then the board will review them at the meeting. Okay, I'll do that.
Very good.
Okay.
Any other new business? Supervisors' requests. Any requests from the supervisors? Well, that gets us into public comments then. This is moving right along.
Kind of took those already.
I know we did. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share?
Is that a question?
Absolutely.
Pat Odenbaker, 525 Newport Drive. This is only my fourth winter here, but I've been hearing about this Prep Mag lawsuit forever. And I've asked a few people, nobody seems to know anything about it, what it's about. They currently only own, I think, 30 out of 115 slips, so they're a very small minority over there. They do have some business rights. If you have a commercial boat there, you have to pay them on a monthly basis. But, so, I think there's a lot of people who don't know what that's all about.
Can you share anything?
Well, yeah, but if possible, if they're, I can orally, verbally advise what the litigation is about.
Say
But if
what
you
you're
want me to just
comfortable
do like a short little memo for next board meeting, say, here's a summary of the lawsuit, here's where it stands, and that way it's in the minutes.
Okay.
We can do it that way.
All right.
It might be better. That way the public has, they can look at it, they don't have to.
Okay.
I'll do
Next
that.
meeting, we could have something out from our attorney that would kind of explain that.
It would be very short, like a summary. Without going
But you're
into
right,
all,
it's been going on forever.
since 19, I think, hasn't it?
Can I have your last name, please?
Otenbaker, Otenbaker.
Thank you.
It'll be basically a status memo. We'll treat it that way. Some background status, and that way the public can see. Okay.
Okay, we've got an extra half an hour here. We can extend the meeting, or we could start speaking on ERC things. Does anybody have any suggestions? Or do you just want to continue the meeting?
We have to continue the meeting anyway, so I say continue the meeting.
Okay, so at this time then, I would like to make a motion that we continue this meeting until, what's it, March 1st?
March 1st at 9:30 a.m. at the Orchid Room, Orchid Cove Community Room.
And that will be to,
Consideration of purchase contract of the property on Case Drive owned by Mr. and Mrs. Sampson, evaluate and rank engineering firms, and possible general discussion about ERCs.
Before we go there, can we ask Orchid Cove if the room's available?
We did.
Yes.
you just did.
And I'll work with the manager on having the notice in the paper also. If it was only a week, I wouldn't, but since it's 2 weeks, to do it that way. One other thing, the board will come back to the board. I'll ask the clerk of courts if the district notices could be published on the clerk's website. The legislature a couple years ago said certain agencies can set up a website for governmental notices. And the clerk of courts has done that for Collier County. Evergreen City has joined in on it. It's significantly less expensive than using the newspaper, but it's legal.
Okay,
And so I'll see, there's a category in there for like 9 different entities. It doesn't say special district. I'll talk to the clerk about that, because that could save a bunch of money.
okay, as far as this next meeting goes, does the board want to pay Dave for another meeting? Huh?
We offered that.
Oh, you did?
That's part of the contract. If you extend the meeting, I'll pick it up.
Appreciate that.
Great, thank you.
Well, I know we're cheating you guys out of a half an hour of a meeting.
Did the board,
Nobody seconded that.
I was gonna say, we need a second and a vote.
Hey, I know, just one other thing I wanted to ask.
Please come up.
Update on the water bills. Kevin.
Can we second that first?
Okay.
Yes, and then have discussion from other items, yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that.
Is there a second?
Continue.
I'll second it, Kevin.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
Aye.
hold off on that till we hear the public comment, so. The water bill.
I just had a question, Kevin, about our water bills. Were we going to a new firm, new company that's going to handle our water bills, or are we all set? Our bills are just going to keep coming? Okay, no issue?
No, you're probably talking about whether we can use a credit card.
No, actually, I was thinking that the management company was looking at somebody else handling the billing or whatever, and
That was somebody that handled the ability to do ACH payments.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, on here, under public comments, Mike King, is he here? Did you have something that you wanted to address? Or you just decided in?
I just done it.
Okay.
I don't either.
Okay. All right, well then, I guess
The meeting is continued.
meeting is continued until March 1st. Thanks for coming.
Mr. Chairman, if I can grab you for 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I feel cheated. Born again. Sorry? I feel born again.
Yes. That's funny because,